Welcome back, everybody. It's good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a long while. It's been a long, unproductive while. Let me show you what I've done in this long ass time. So, first things first, last you saw this sucker here was driving relatively well. Which goes to say I'm pretty much done doing everything I'm gonna do to it. So let me roll it back a little out of the way. And push, push. Okay. Anyway, so you saw that I got it all together good enough for the wife to drive, which means it's probably pretty good. Since then, I've added the Airdam. If you look closely, you can see this is a different color, and that's because the one I had was dented here from all these dents. A deer had hit it, the dude said, that I bought it from, which, you know, nicely enough, that's exactly where this line goes, so I had to replace that bucket. Luckily, I had a spare from this car. The dude that sold it to me had an extra bucket for that side, just because, I guess if you look, there's some slight rust. So I guess he's like, let me just get a whole bucket, and never replaced it. So that worked out well for me. Complete pain in the ass to do. It should be easier, right? You know, a couple bolts and the Airdam is off, but no, that was not the case. There is like 2 bolts here going up and holding like the old metal piece on. And then I left the center section in, as you can see. You want to do this because without this area blocked off, the Airdam is pretty much useless. It's to keep air from getting up from the ground in there. So if this isn't blocked off, then all the air is just going to come right back up through that gap, and the Airdam's not going to be effective. So I need to block it off a little better. But this is just a factory piece, which fills that gap pretty decent. But yeah, of course, these bolts were all rusted to shit. So trying to go unbolt them, they were just spinning. So they broke their, I guess, retaining nuts loose. So I had to cut them. And when I cut them, I ended up accidentally cutting some metal. So that's why this is bare metal. I had to grind it and fill some weld and stuff, and then weld on a tab. You see this random piece of metal. I had to weld that on there to put the bolts through. So that was a big pain in the ass. But anyway, it's on for now. I just need to get, I have them bolted in the back, and then I'm gonna put a couple bolts in the front. I ran out of washers, so I only have like one on each side. But that's that. And big thing you might have noticed is we got a hood on here, you know. And I hate to say it, but it's because I had to buy that piece of junk LS6 intake for hood clearance. And you know that's what gets me. It costs like $600 these days to get this intake, and it's actually not a very good intake. Like, it's better than LS1, but LS1 intake's a piece of shit. This truck stock intake makes, I think, 25 horsepower more everywhere and torque compared to LS6. But shit! I was joking. Fuck all that shit, guys. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look real close. This right here might be the first time in history a Gen 4 TBSS, they call it TBSS, is just Gen 4 truck intake, has ever been fit under a Datsun stock hood. See that? Stock, ain't nothing done to the hood except the flopping hood vents. Yeah, it just barely fits. Like, just barely fits. Goes to say I had to do a couple things, of course, to make it fit. Number one, you might have noticed before, this hood latch bracket I cut off the front and under looping support thing. I'll have to probably weld some triangulation in there because as you can see it jiggles, and I can see my hood when I'm driving, you know, jiggling a little like that. But otherwise it was just this map sensor right there. It used to go right there. So I just took it out, snapped off the little plastic piece that held it on, plugged it up, and relocated it there. There was just a random vacuum port there, which I drilled out to the right size and just shoved that in there. If you're running boost, you probably want something to hook this thing down with because it's going to blow out. But if you're not running boost, who cares? It's just going to suck itself in. Otherwise, this throttle body, this little electrical module doohickey, used to be, normally it's on this side and it's poking up, so I was hitting the hood. So I just turned this thing upside down, and of course made all my wires on this side, so I had to run them to this side instead of to that side. But otherwise it was pretty easy. There's little screw things which I had to pop out. I think I need to take this one out too, because I've been noticing, look at this, tell me if you don't see this. I don't know if you see little paint cracks. I think that's from that little sucker right there poking my hood underneath. Not sure, but I didn't notice those before, so I'm thinking that's what it is. Oh shit, maybe it's probably because, yeah, if I hit some bumps, the motor probably wiggles up a little bit and taps it. Because yes, right now it's sitting real low. So that's one of the big things I need to do is tuck that exhaust. I need to tuck that these pipes up higher because they're scraping, even though I'm pretty high off the ground. But that's what I've done with this. I got a towel. My buddy was driving and he was dirty, so he put a towel down. It's pretty clean. I have, you know, the gauges working, the shifter working, all the brake switch stuff working. I just really want to put a radio in there to fill that empty void. And I don't know if I should hook up oil pressure. I never hooked up oil pressure gauge on this one. I would figure the check engine light would trigger and warn me of that. And otherwise, if you have low oil pressure, you're probably in bad shape otherwise. But anyway, coming back to this little son of a bitch right here, I have a little present for this one as well. If you might be able to tell what this is. Do you know? Can you guess? If you can't, this is a Ford 8.8 rear end. It took me freaking million years to find one, which was limited slip. This is the D4 is the axle code, which is 373 limited slip. I found one before, but the dumbass wanted like $500 for it, and I was like, no. So I got this one real cheap. And the axles, and also I pulled the front hubs because I was hoping that those axles would just slide in there, and then I could just weld like a little thing for a bolt to go through and hook up to that control arm. But turns out the outer CVs are different front to back on an Explorer. This one, the rears are bigger and different spline count than the fronts. So I'm gonna have to figure something out. I'm thinking that maybe I can get the front CVs and their shorter axles, which I think when I measured they actually might be the exact right width, just about, to fit under here, and pull their front part off an axle and plug it in there. That's assuming they have the same, I guess, spline on that shaft. But that's what I've done. I took this thing out to a little autocross event the other week. I was kind of pissed. I got these new tires, you know, bigger tires, and they still don't grip worth shit. Like, I was in second gear the whole time and I was spinning my wheels constantly. So looks like I'm gonna have to buy new wheels and tires already. These are 225s, and I'm thinking I'm gonna try to fit like a freaking 295, 275 under there, which will require flares, which I was looking also, and I was gonna replace this rear fender because you see it's all boogered up right here, but if I do flares, you pretty much cut all this out when you put a flare on, so maybe that's a good excuse to put flares on it. But that's what I've been up to. That's the cars. They both run good. This one, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. I want to paint it, but I might have to sell it. Give you a little hint. I've been looking at some auctions and I saw a 2-seater car, modern, which I might be able to scoop up and replace this one with. So if you're interested, you want to buy this car, let me know. You know, it's give you a great deal, great discount. You know, super good. So let me know if you want this. Anybody? Otherwise, if that auction doesn't go through, I'll just paint it up. So yeah, right now I'm not really buying much of anything because I'm saving money to potentially buy that car on auction. So you might not see anything again for a while. Otherwise, you might see a brand new car in here. But that's that. That's what I've been up to. Next time you'll probably see either me doing some more work with that rear end. I already got the mounts being made to bolt the rear end in. Or you'll see something about this going away. So I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed it.